Hello, and thank you for watching this ag forecast for the Western U.S. I'm Andrew Pritchard, Senior Meteorologist with Nutrien Ag Solutions. I'm going to hit you with the satellite picture again. First thing on Friday morning, we got Hurricane Delta in the Gulf of Mexico. Will be making landfall in southern Louisiana as we get toward the end of the day today into tomorrow morning. But as we talk about the Pacific Northwest, we've got a strong storm system making a beeline for the Pacific Northwest, not making any big splash with precipitation just yet. But we'll see some heavier rain moving in as we get into tonight and then during the day tomorrow. And we'll see precipitation just continuing as we head into the rest of the weekend and early next week across the Pacific Northwest. The last 72 hours, of course, have been dry across the West. And here is our next 7 days of forecast precipitation. Again, looking at lots of rainfall here, 4 to 6 inches of rainfall expected across western portions of Washington and Oregon. Now, the question is, what happened to California? If we go back to the forecast on Tuesday morning, we're talking about the chance of getting at least half an inch to maybe an inch from central California all the way through northern California. Now seeing a big goose egg as you go down to central California, keeping things dry. What the heck happened over the last 3 days? Well, here's the forecast from Tuesday, our upper level forecast, 500 millibar winds. I'm going to point something out to you. Can you think back to that? What we were expecting to get the precipitation going here across the West? It was this little lead low out ahead of our big Pacific jet extension. This one was going to move ashore here right across north central California, bringing that rain into central and northern California to get the event started. So it was supposed to be today into tonight that we were going to get that rain through northern and central California, and then the big heavy rainfall would commence across the Pacific Northwest. So that was the forecast 3 days ago. This is the forecast today. Let's watch the little low. It exists. It's not as if this does not exist, but now the trough comes in from the west, kicks this thing off to the south and to the east. Now this little low, this little preceding low, is making landfall across the Yucatan Peninsula, way down in Michigan, way down in Mexico. So, imagine someone lining up here to kick a soccer ball and they're going to kick it straight into the goal. Well, it's almost as if this thing just came off the side of the kicker's foot and deflected off to the right. Now, that's not exactly what's happening here, but essentially, that's what we saw. This thing was supposed to get nudged straight into Northern California. Instead, the alignment not quite there, just a little bit off to the south is that trough now from where we expected it to be 3 days ago. And with that slightly further south position to get started, the trough comes screaming in and kicks that thing down into Mexico, missing northern and central portions of California. So that's what changed. We no longer get the first wave coming ashore in California today into tonight. Instead, that goes off to the south. Then we wait for tonight into tomorrow, the heavy rainfall across the Pacific Northwest, and this series of very strong waves that will be coming out of the west, keeping the precipitation going in that area. So here's the high-resolution NAM model. This will take us through the weekend. And now here's the system across the Pacific. This is the one that 3 days ago, again, was supposed to do something like this and is instead now dropping way off to the south and to the west. So you can see its moisture going along with it. If you look up towards western Washington, we'll see steady rain moving in as we get into the overnight. And we'll see that rain spreading into the I-5 corridor as we get into the late overnight and the early morning hours on Saturday. As we head into the rest of the day on Saturday, off and on rain showers expected all the way from the I-5 corridor in western Oregon, now making its way over toward the Snake River Valley as we get into Saturday afternoon across southern portions of Idaho. And then as we just let this continue to play through Saturday night and Sunday morning, again, we'll just keep a series of waves kind of following this trajectory. So we'll keep those rain showers in the forecast and even some snow showers expected kind of about 4,000 to 5,000 feet in elevation, especially across portions of the Cascades. So we'll take a look then at the European. This will take us a little bit further into next week, showing us the pattern. Again, let's go ahead and jump back. We'll do that once again. Here's our little lead wave, the one that gave us the hope for north central California, missing us off to the south now. Here comes the moisture now moving into western Washington as we get into the late evening, the early overnight, spreading into the I-5 corridor as we get into the early morning hours on Saturday. We'll see that rain and high elevation snow spreading into Idaho and western Montana as we get into Saturday night. And then off and on shower activity with another round of heavier rain coming for Washington and Oregon as we get into Sunday night and then into Monday. As we take it deeper into next week, then we'll just see off and on opportunities for some light moisture across the region. Total precipitation, we're talking about 4 to 6 inches of rainfall across the western half of Washington. As you get down to kind of the Tri-City area there from Yakima over to Walla Walla, we're talking about maybe a quarter of an inch of rainfall across that area. Snake River Valley looking at about a quarter of an inch of rainfall as well, but some heavier precipitation in the higher elevation areas, and even expecting some snow in some of the higher elevations across the northern Rockies here, parts of western Wyoming, and then across elevations above 4,500 feet in the Cascades as well. But this is what changed, is the lack of the precipitation across the northern half of California, with that system missing us off to the south rather than coming straight east into the region. So as we head through the week, getting into the end of the coming week, right around October 15th, 16th, 17th, mid-month, we're going to trend back to a pattern where we reestablish this trough from the Hudson Bay down to the Great Lakes. We've once again got ridging in the Gulf of Alaska, so the jet stream coming over the ridge, dropping down into the central United States. That's going to keep things on the cooler side from the Canadian Prairie into the Great Lakes, and then allow at times heat to resume across the western half of the country. So over the next 10 days, here is the temperature anomaly forecast from the GFS. The first 5 days on the left, and then the 5 days that follow that over there on the right. So here we go. As we go through the weekend into early next week, we've got our big storm system bringing lots of precipitation and cloud cover the Pacific Northwest. We've got some ridging across the midsection of the country. Now, as we transition toward the end of the coming work week, ridging resumes in the west. We've got our big trough once again established in this region, and so that's allowing some heat to resume across the southwest U.S., at times running up the west coast. So here's the next 7 days, or I'm sorry, the next 15 days, looking at the precipitation anomaly forecast on the left, and then our temperature anomaly forecast as we get into the 10-day time frame, October 16th through the 21st. And again, just showing the same thing, the main corridor for the precipitation expected here across the Pacific Northwest. We're going to be talking about, at times, cooler conditions in this region as we have cloud cover and precipitation, but with the general jet stream flow doing something like this, we'll see that ridging bringing heat back to the southwest, at times running up the west coast, cooler intrusions making their way across Montana into the northern plains as we head into the middle of the month of October. Our fire weather risk over the next few days, pretty low today. Tomorrow, we're going to increase that risk across the high plains. With these systems moving through from the Pacific Northwest into the northern plains, we will see windy conditions at times. Again, that's primarily going to be confined to the high plains. This is where we're going to see some of those fire weather risks being the highest, with the dry air coming in on the backside of these systems and the very strong winds associated with the pressure gradient force there as well. Finishing then with a look at our high temperatures as we head through the weekend into early next week. A bit cooler across coastal California today, 60s with a little bit seasonably warmer temperatures as you head into the Pacific Northwest. Not talking about heat, but those mid-70s are a little bit warm for this time of year. Your highs on Saturday and Sunday trending cooler across the Northwest. That cooler air begins to spread into the central plains in the Midwest as we head into early next week. And then again, we expect heat to resume at least across portions of New Mexico, Arizona, up through Nevada and California. But at times, we're going to see those warmer temperatures spreading into Oregon, Idaho, and even Washington as we head deeper into next week.